Hello everyone and welcome to Clarity 16.2.0 Feature Supportability Training. I am Vib Malhotra, and as part of this section we will be talking about the mobile app 3.2.4. This app is going to come along with the Clarity 16.2.0 release. As part of the mobile app 3.2.4, we are making the following changes to the mobile application. We are now going to provide the ability for our customers to view smart list within the mobile app. The customers will now have the ability to enter a note date when entering a note within either at the timesheet level or at the task level. We've also enhanced how the users interact with the timesheets within the mobile app. And finally, we are introducing the support for MS Intunes. This functionality is going to be in beta, which means all the beta rules apply. The reason this is important is because customers that use collaborative work management in Clarity would like to have that capability on the go in the mobile app. The previous version of the mobile app provided the capability for the users to manage their checklist, and now the users want their smart list also to be available in the mobile app so that they can interact with the to-dos that are defined in their smart list. Customers also asked that they wanted to capture note state when they are entering a note either at the timesheet or at the task within the timesheet itself. This functionality was introduced in the UX, and now they want the same capability in the mobile app. So that is being added as part of this version of the mobile app. Timesheet is one of the top use cases for our mobile customers, and several customers have interacted with the product management team and given the feedback that occasionally they will have problems trying to select the task in their timesheet itself. That could result in either duplicate task or the flow might not be as intuitive to the users. And the feedback really was that can we make the mobile adding of the task in the timesheet be similar to the UX. So that is the type of change we are bringing as part of this version of the mobile app. And finally, enterprise customers that want to deploy their mobile app for all their end users are not able to do so because of their corporate policy that they need an MDM type of solution, and specifically they have all mentioned that they need MS Intunes support so that they can use that to deploy the mobile app to the enterprise mobile devices and then be able to manage any and all apps within those devices. So as part of this release, we will have the support for MS Intunes in beta so that we can interact with the customers and essentially ensure that the functionality we are releasing will meet their needs and requirements. All right, with that, let's see the application in action. So here I am actually logged into the mobile app version 3.2.4, and I've logged in as a user that has essentially checklist and smart list defined for her. As you would see that any user that would navigate to the to-dos menu within the mobile app will now see two tabs under the to-dos. The first is the checklist that was already available to them, and then the second is now going to be the smart list. Touching on the smart list is where the user will see all their smart lists that they have created within the UX will all be listed right here, arranged in the same order. We have the search capability. This allows the user to find a specific smart list. The search is shared between checklist also. What that means is that if I was to search for a specific value, in this case I'm going to search for any smart list that begin with the word my. As soon as I type that, it shows me the two smart lists that begin with the word my. But if I now go back to the checklist, the same filter criteria is retained, and any checklist that had or begins with the word my is automatically then displayed to me. So the search is shared between the checklist and smart list. Going back to the smart list, let me clear my search criteria, and what I want to do is I want to go into the my to-dos smart list. Navigating into it, the first thing you'll see is now we have the tabs inside of the smart list, one tab for open and the other one for completed. So all the open to-dos within the smart list will be listed under the open section, and anything that's completed will be under the completed section. By default, we display it the sort based on the date, and you can see similar to the UX, I can see the to-dos that are either overdue, the ones that are due in the next 7 days, or the ones that are due beyond 7 days. So all my to-dos are easily arranged in the sort order by date. I can see in this case that there is one to-do that is overdue. This to-do, the scope manager, was due a few days ago and it's not been completed, and I feel that this to-do is blocked, so I want to ensure that I can set this to-do as blocked and populate my blocked reasons. So any to-do that is inside my smart list, I can interact with that to-do. I can manage that to-do within that smart list. So in this case, I'm going to mark this to-do as blocked, and I'm going to give it a reason that there is a big scope change, which requires more review, which is why this is blocked. So I've populated that information, and I can go back out to my to-dos smart list, and I can see that this is blocked, and I have my reason populated inside. Next, I'm going to go back out to my smart list page again, and in here I am going to go to my another smart list called ad hoc work view. Navigating into it, I'm coming in sorted by the owner because that was the state I had used for this specific smart list when I had last used it. So it automatically came in and is sorting for me by the owner. I can see all the to-dos that are within my smart list organized by the owners. I can scroll down and see all the different owners and their respective to-dos. If I wanted to see this again by date, because I know that there are quite a few of these to-dos, I know the owners, but I'm more concerned about the date, I can touch on the sort by, and I have my three options: the date, name, and owner. I'm going to touch on the date and going to change to display the data for me based on the dates, and now I can see all the to-dos that are overdue. I can see them based on the owners. These are the owners that all their to-dos are late, and then there are a couple that are blocked that could be the reason why some of them are late. So they're now sorted by the date. If I just wanted to see them by name, that I'm not concerned about the owner, I'm not concerned about the date, then I can touch on the name, and now all the to-dos will be displayed to me sorted alphabetically by the name of my to-do. So here are all the to-dos just sorted by the name. This is a similar functionality as the UX, so now the user has that capability to do all the sort bys within the smart list. So that is the changes being brought in regards to the smart list within the mobile app. Next, I'm going to show the enhancements that's done on the timesheet sites, and for that I'm going to log in as a different user. So I'm going to log out as Dana, and I'm going to log in as Tom, who is my timesheet user. And navigating in or logging in, I land into my timesheet itself. So in this case, this is the default landing page for my timesheet. And what I'm going to do as this user is I'm going to populate my timesheet for the previous time period, for the current time period, and for the next time period. So let's start with the previous time period. touching on that previous time period opens it up, and I will land where I can see that there's no task added. So this is the first change. In the past, if there were no task added, we would take the user directly to a list of all the tasks, which could cause confusion, because now instead of seeing my timesheet, I'm seeing a list of various tasks. So we take the user to a page and we inform them that no tasks have been added and they need to add in order to submit their timesheet. So that's the first change in regards to the flow. The second is when I go to the menu, now I see that instead of just the submit and notes, I have two additional options, which is add task from previous timesheet, add task from assignments, and then search and select task is what used to exist, but we've relabeled it. These are the new options that the user would see, and in this case I want to first start off by essentially searching and adding task to my timesheet. So let's go do that. Let's go ahead and say I want to search and add a selective task to my timesheet. Coming in here, I can see all the tasks that are available that I can include in my timesheet, and I have the same search capability. So let's first search for a specific project. In this case, I want to search for a project called DPM. Just typing that, it finds me the project and all the tasks inside of it. The second change you would notice is the fact that now we not only just display the task, we display the dates or the duration for that task, which allows me to easily see which task should I be essentially using to populate my date and time for my current time period. So I know my timesheet I'm trying to populate for November 6th to November 12th, and the tasks that are there within that range are these three. So that's the other change that is available to me. So in this case, I'm just going to select a couple of tasks that which would be the stand-up agile management, and I'm going to select the post transition. These are the two tasks I want to include in my timesheet. In addition, I also want to add a task from another project, which would be eBusiness Mobile. And when I select or type in that, I can find my project itself. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and select the database development. So there are three tasks that I have selected for. I'm going to include all three of them into my timesheet. So now I can see the three tasks that are there. The other change is from a usability perspective. Users had the certain case problem where if they went to select search and select again for the same DPM project. So if I go back in and I search for DPM project again, what the users would see is all the tasks listed again, and they could accidentally select the same task and then duplicate that task within the timesheet. Now, any task that has already been added to the user timesheet is no longer displayed in the search and select. So the two that I have already added have already been removed, so I do not see them. All right, so that's the other change that we made from a usability perspective. All right, if I did have a use case where I wanted to populate time for the same task twice, I could do that by using the swipe technology, which is I can swipe my specific task, and now I have that option to copy. I can select that, and my task is duplicated. So we do have the capability that if you intentionally wanted to have a time entered against two tasks, you can do so by doing a copy for it. And I can go ahead, and if I didn't want to do that, I can easily just swipe and delete, and it'll remove it from my timesheet. So let's go ahead and enter some hours for this specific timesheet. I'm just going to do the hour spread, and by doing that, I've populated my time, and if I wanted to, I can submit. But let's go back out, and next I'm going to go into my current timesheet. In this case, again, landing in, there is no task already selected, so I'm going to go ahead and use my second scenario, which is in the current timesheet. I want to populate my task based on the previous timesheet that I have created. So if you remember, we just did the the previous time sheet where I selected 3 tasks from 2 different projects. So now if I wanted to do the same for my current, instead of doing a search and select, I can just from this menu pick add task from the previous timesheet. Selecting that brings up a new screen which will then ask me, do I want to just add tasks from the previous timesheet, and while I'm doing so, do I want to copy time from that timesheet? I can say I don't. I just want to go ahead and add those tasks as is, which means the task from the previous timesheet will be included in my current timesheet without any hours copied. But let's say, well, maybe that's not what I wanted to do. Maybe I did want to use the hours. I can go back out again and I can say add task from the previous timesheet. Notice that I have not populated any hours, so these are all blank task entry. In this case, when I do this again, the same message pops up but with an additional note, and this time the note is saying that because I already have task in my timesheet and there is no hours added, if I continue with this process, then those tasks with no time will be removed from my timesheet, and that might be okay. Again, this warning is there that in certain cases, if the user did want to keep those tasks within the timesheet, then we are making them aware of it and they can cancel and go back to and decide what they want to do. If I had hours populated, then we do save those tasks. All right, so let's proceed with our scenario where I'm going to, in this time, select my copy time. And by doing so, it's going to not only bring those tasks, but it will also bring in the hours from those previous. All right. And finally, in this case, if I just wanted to add some additional tasks to it, I can go back and search and select. I can pick additional task and I can then add more tasks to my existing timesheet. So those 3 are retained and 2 additional tasks are then automatically added in this case. Right, I'm going to go back out and I'm now going to go into my next period for my third scenario. Again, there is no task already added to mine, and in this scenario I'm going to go ahead and add task from assignments. I'm going to go to the menu, and in the menu I'm going to this time pick add task from assignments. So all the tasks that Tom has been assigned to, all of those tasks should automatically be added right here. So as you can see, selecting it, I have already it's already added all the tasks where Tom is assigned to for this specific time period. Okay, if I wanted to, in this case that I have added all those, I can, let's say, populate some time, and let's say I wanted to add a note because this is my future time period that I am submitting the time for. Maybe I want to add a note to it, and I can do that by going into my notes. So first go to the menu and then going into the notes, I have the option to populate my note for my timesheet. And you can notice that in my environment, because I have that capability enabled, which is in the timesheet options, I have the ability to enter a note date. That option has been enabled. I can now see this new area where I can populate the note date. So let's just populate a note date that because I'm going to be off on next Friday, I want to submit my timesheet early, and that's the note I'm populating. And I want to make sure that I populate this note for today. So that's today's date, which is by default displayed. That's the date I want this note for. In fact, just let's say that I wanted it for 2 days earlier. So I'm going to select that and I post it. Doing so, it has populated my note, and it has the note date displayed, which was the November 13 date populated in here. And this was just posted a few seconds ago. So I can now have the option to populate my timesheet note using a note date. Similarly, if I go back out and I go into one of my tasks, let's just say post implementation date. I can enter a note at the task level, and in this case I can enter the value that I need more etc to complete it, and in this case I'm going to populate a future date which would be for November 20th, and I can post that for at the task level. And doing so, I can see that there is a note date of November 20th and it's been posted. Go back out, and that are the different scenarios of easily navigating to the timesheet, populating the task within the timesheet, and then entering the note date either at the timesheet level or at the task level. That completes the demo, and that concludes this section. Thank you, everyone.